Britain has found itself in a rather unusual situation that is nonetheless indicative of the challenges modern high-tech defence programs face. The Royal Air Force is struggling with a shortage of engineers needed to maintain its fifth-generation F-35 fighters. This issue directly affects combat readiness, as the availability rate of the aircraft has officially been classified as low for 2 years in a row. Yet the most paradoxical element is that the UK Ministry of Defence initially miscalculated its own personnel requirements, an oversight that created a gap in precisely the area where mistakes are the most costly: highly specialised aviation engineering support. Given that the F-35 is an extremely complex platform with multiple interconnected systems, the shortage of engineers affects far more than operational flight availability. It slows down software updates, undermines the quality of technical servicing, delays component repairs and disrupts scheduled maintenance cycles. Unlike older platforms, where certain tasks could be covered by experienced technicians, the F-35 requires narrow-profile specialists certified by the manufacturer. That is why even a minor miscalculation in personnel planning rapidly escalates into a strategic problem. Defense Minister Luke Pollard acknowledged the mistake and emphasized that recruitment has been significantly increased over the past 2 years. This includes financial incentives, modernized training programs and efforts to make engineering service more attractive to young specialists. But even with such measures, the time gap between recruitment and the emergence of a fully certified engineer spans years. Therefore, the officially announced 3 to 4 year timeline for overcoming the shortage looks realistic, yet it also illustrates the scale of the earlier planning error. In practice, Britain has lost at least half a decade because of inaccurate numbers in official documents. The strategic context deserves special attention. London has already declared that its F-35 fleet will remain in service until the 2060s, a clear sign of long-term reliance on this platform. But such a perspective means one more thing: if the personnel shortage drags on, it risks becoming a chronic issue. The F-35 is becoming a core element of Britain's airpower, and any constraints in its maintenance increase the burden on the Eurofighter Typhoon fleet, which is also aging. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Defence is in no hurry to answer when these aircraft will eventually be replaced by sixth-generation fighters under the GCAP program. This uncertainty complicates long-term fleet planning even further. Additional details, such as the recent revelation that the UK saved money by not purchasing a proper landing system for carrier-based F-35Bs, forcing pilots to dump missiles into the ocean, highlight a broader problem of structural imbalances in defense budgeting and priority setting. When funds are saved on components that are critical for combat readiness, the consequences are inevitable. In the case of the F-35B, it literally demonstrates how underfunded small things can create risks that influence mission execution. In conclusion, the shortage of British engineers for the F-35 is not merely an internal staffing issue but a worrying indicator of the overall state of the UK's defence planning system. The good news is that the problem has been recognised and efforts to address it are underway. The bad news is that the time lost due to the initial miscalculation cannot be recovered. In the coming years, the personnel factor will be decisive in determining whether Britain's F-35s truly remain operational until the 2060s, or only on paper.